uh, basically an overview of Bridger Bowl and where you should ski depending on your ski level. So let's start down in the green area, and as you can see, I've basically divided each area into a skill level, with the green being the most basic, blue being a little bit harder, orange being the hardest you can access without a beacon, and the ridge, which you have to have a beacon. Okay, let's start down here. So, in general, the green area, it's a slow area, as you can see from this legend over here. But this has the two main terrain parks, which are going to be around here and here. So this is the upper terrain park. It has bigger features and bigger jumps than the lower, which is right here, and you can see it from the lift. And we have so this is the beginners area right here. As you can see, zoomed out, and you have Snowflake, which is the shortest lift and the easiest to get off. And we have two magic carpets right here and right here. And we have another one over here to get from PK to Bridger right here. So this is some pretty basic stuff. It's not very steep or anything, and it only has greens and it's a slow area. But from there, once you get to a deer part or a Bridger at this junction right here, you have two options. You can either go up Bridger, which if you can also get a Midway, which accesses to more of the blue terrain, or you can go to Pierce Knob, which goes straight up, and you can either go to the blues and you have some blacks down here, or you can just go down straight down Flippers or South Pole, which are generally harder. And Flippers as you can see, is the double black diamond. It is truly the most advanced terrain in Bridger, other than the ridge. So and there are a couple. You have Flippers, and then you have let's see, we have Exit Chute, the lower nose, and Zits, and that's all the double black diamonds that you will see below the ridge. And let's talk about some of this blue terrain. So this is quite steeper than the green terrain, and all of them, most of them come back to the lift. If you just follow the road, they will all come back to the lift. Right over here at Midway, you can go down either left or you can go right. And personally, I think that the left way is a little easier than the right way, as it doesn't have as much like trees or anything, and is groomed completely on this side. This side not as groomed. And we can go, if you continue over a bit, and you can go to the Easy Money, which is quite a steep hill, but there's nothing really special about it. And then we have the two lifts over here, Powder Park and Alpine. Alpine has more of the green and blue terrain, while Powder Park has more blacks and just more blacks. And we have Three Bears, which isn't marked right here, but it is a traverse that if you continue along this ridge, you'll be able to go into Baby Bear. Well, these are pretty good. They're really good terrain. These two are in the trees, and they usually have a little bit more snow than, let's say, Baby Bear, because it's just less populated in general. But then we have the trees in Alpine over here. The trees in Alpine it's kind of easy to get lost in, but you just need to make sure, if you get lost in, like, say over here, just make sure you just cut over to the Alpine return, which will take you all the way down back to Sunnyside over here. Okay, so now let's talk about the black terrain. So to access the black terrain from Bridger, you can either go at Midway and take lower sluice box. The sluice box is divided into two parts: the upper part, which you can access by going full, or the lower part, which has more trees, and Devil's Dive, which also has more trees. But if you go through Midway, you can go over there. If you go full, though, you have access to a lot more terrain. For example, North Bowl. North Bowl is one of the most versatile areas on the lower mountain, as you can go almost anywhere with it, and there's a lot of different terrain. The lower you go, the less advanced the terrain will be. Here being a lot more cliffs than here, which is lot more basic. And we have Bronco. Bronco is it's pretty good. It's a little icy and some trees and rocks over there. And if you really want to test yourself, I would recommend going on High Traverse. High Traverse is pretty sketchy, and it can be pretty hard to get into, but if you get into it, there's some pretty good skiing in Avalanche Gulch right here. Or if you continue up, there's a side step that you have to side step up for a little bit, or you can hike, it's your choice, and you'll have access to these black diamonds over here, which are pretty good also. And then there's Ptarmigan, which if you don't want to take High Traverse, you can just cut in from Ptarmigan straight into Avalanche Gulch. And that finally ends out around the Beacon Park, which is a great place to test out your beacon skills for finding people. Which there's the box, there's not an actual person there. But from the Beacon Park, you can either go back to PK, or you can go to Bridger. Okay, so now let's talk about the ridge. So there is one lift that requires a beacon, and that's Slushman's. So to get to Slushman's, you have to go up PK, and that's a road that takes you all the way down to Slushman's. And then from there, you check your beacon. Again, you have to check it here also. And you can go straight up, and then you have two choices basically, or three, I guess. You can take lift line, you can go to the ravine, or you can go to Mundy's. So you can also hike up here. So if you hike up, you can hike over to Mundy's, and this is a ski area boundary right here. And right here, if you keep going, you can go up Saddle. Well, that's backcountry, and there is no grooming or ski patrol over there. Or you can drop into Mundy's. You can drop into the ravine, or you can go to the Fingers, which is a great place for the Jobs and Z-Shoot and a couple other places. On the nose, and usually it would be smarter to not hike all the way to the nose from PK, but it's a choice you can do, but I would recommend you don't. But so you could just go up Bridger. And then from here, there's a Bridger hike. This is one of the longest hikes. And you go up, and you can access to a bunch of terrain. And you can either go to the apron, or you can go to Bridger Gully also. And there's a bunch of cool chutes and cliffs over here. Or you can just hike over to the nose. So the nose is basically where High Traverse is, and there's Super Couloir here, and there's a couple other really cool places in the nose. But that's one is really good. And the apron, on the other hand, is also really good. There's lots of snow, but you do have to take a traverse from around here over, and then you drop in, and then the apron goes straight to Alpine and Powder Park area, and then you can just go back to the lift if you want. But let's go back to the Fingers. So the Fingers have a lot of steep terrain. There are 5 fingers. And you can hike to each one. The first finger is the closest one, so you could basically just go up here and you go down, or you can just hike higher and then just go to higher terrain. And then let's say you want to go to you hike all the way up, you can go back to the ravine, and the ravine is a great place because it has a lot of good terrain and lots of cliffs that you could hit. There aren't that many mandatory drops, but you can hit most of them. And let's see, on Mundy's is a great place also. It's smaller than North Bowl, but it's a lot steeper also, but it's also really good. There's a lot of basic drops over there, and in general, the Ridge area is one of the best places to ski in Bridger. But you do need a beacon, but if you don't have a beacon, that's perfectly fine. You have all of this other area to ski. Okay, so once you've seen this, I hope your guys' trip to Bridger is a good one. It's a great place and has a lot of good terrain.